As we grow older, we often imagine that life will get simpler, that the years will smooth out the sharp edges. But for many seniors, the truth is more complicated. People change. The world moves faster. And sometimes it feels like others just don't understand us anymore. If you've ever felt frustration bubbling up inside you, when your kids don't listen, when strangers are impatient, when the world feels louder and more chaotic, you're not alone. But here's the good news. Peace is possible not by changing others, but by transforming how we respond. In this video, we'll share 10 gentle, powerful ways older adults can stay calm, centered and hopeful, no matter what others say or do. Let's begin. Pause before reacting. There's a moment, a small, almost invisible moment, between what happens to us and how we choose to respond. It might only last a second, a heartbeat, a breath, but in that tiny space lies the power to change everything. As we grow older, we often find ourselves dealing with things we never expected. A grandchild who speaks to us with impatience, a doctor who rushes through an appointment, a neighbor who forgets to say hello, or even a stranger at the grocery store who cuts in line and doesn't apologize. In these moments, it's so easy to feel hurt, dismissed, overlooked, and for good reason. You've lived a life full of meaning. Your words matter. Your presence matters. And when others treat you as if you're invisible, that pain can run deep. But before we speak, before we let the frustration take over, what if we just paused? Not forever, not even for a full minute, just long enough to notice, long enough to remember who we are, long enough to let peace speak before our pride does. Because when we react quickly, we often let the emotion, not our wisdom, lead the way. Let's take an example. Imagine this. You're telling a story from your past, a beautiful memory, maybe about your first job, or a holiday decades ago when everything seemed simpler. But as you speak, your daughter interrupts. "Mum, we've heard that one before. She's not trying to be mean. She's just in a rush, distracted, maybe tired. Still, her words sting." In that moment, you could snap back. "Well, maybe if you actually listened the first time, I wouldn't need to repeat myself. You'd be justified. But would you feel better afterward? Would your heart feel lighter, or would it carry a new weight? The sadness of a rift between people who love each other. Now imagine something different. You pause, you take a breath, you let her words land and float away. And then softly you say, "I guess I just wanted to share that memory with someone I love. But maybe another time." No anger, no bitterness, just grace. That pause, that breath. It didn't just stop an argument. It reminded both of you what truly matters. Connection, not control. You see, pausing is not weakness. It's strength. It's the strength to not let someone else's moment of carelessness steal your peace. It's the wisdom to know that not everything needs a reply. It's the courage to hold silence, so love can speak louder. And over time, something beautiful begins to happen. The people around you, they start to notice. Not the silence itself, but the energy you bring into every room. A calm presence, a grounded warmth, a patience that soothes. even the most restless souls, you become like a tree in the middle of a storm. Unmoved, unshaken, deeply rooted, that pause becomes your protection. It becomes your gift. And it doesn't mean you let others walk over you. No, not at all. Pausing doesn't mean you say nothing. It means you choose your words with care. It means you respond, not out of reaction, but out of reflection. So how do we cultivate this pause? It starts with awareness. The next time something triggers you, maybe a rude tone, a dismissive comment, a thoughtless gesture, gently notice the rise in your body. Maybe it's tension in your chest, a tightening in your jaw, a flush of heat behind your eyes. Then, before you speak, breathe. One soft, conscious breath in through your nose. Slowly, hold it for a moment, then exhale gently, as if you're releasing more than just air. Releasing hurt, pride, the need to be right. And in that breath, you decide. You choose who you want to be in that moment. Maybe you stay silent. Maybe you offer a kind response. Maybe you gently express how you feel, not to hurt the other person, but to invite them into understanding. Whatever your choice, it's made with intention, not impulse. This is how peace begins to grow in your life, not from controlling others, but from mastering that sacred space between stimulus and response. And here's something else. The more you practice the pause, the easier it becomes. At first, it may feel unnatural, like trying to catch a train that's already in motion. But with time, the pause becomes your rhythm, your way of moving through the world. And people will feel it. They may not say it out loud, but they'll feel safer around you. They'll trust your presence. They'll know that in a world full of noise and reaction, you are a harbor of calm, a place of rest. And even on days when the world pushes hard, when others are thoughtless, when technology frustrates you, when you feel tired and unseen, the pause will be there, like a friend, like a whisper. Wait, breathe, choose peace, because your legacy isn't just in the stories you tell or the things you've done. It's in the way you make people feel, and nothing makes others feel more seen, more loved, more safe than someone who responds with grace instead of anger. Today, let the pause be your practice. Let silence be your strength. Let breath be your anchor. And in that small, sacred space, find the calm you've always had inside. It was never gone, just waiting to be remembered. Develop patience and empathy. As we age, life's experiences teach us many lessons, but one of the most profound is the power of patience and empathy. These qualities serve as a balm for frustration, softening the sharp edges of difficult interactions and helping us connect more deeply with others, even when they challenge us. Frustration often stems from unmet expectations. We want things to go a certain way, or people to act as we believe they should. When they don't, irritation and anger can rise. But developing patience allows us to pause, to take a step back instead of reacting immediately. It gives us space to breathe, to think, and to respond with kindness rather than harshness. Patience is not passive, it's an active choice, a decision to accept things as they are for a moment, trusting that tension will ease with time. This choice brings calm to your heart and clarity to your mind. It protects your energy from being drained by needless conflict. empathy walks hand in hand with patience. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. It is putting yourself in their shoes, seeing the world through their eyes, and recognizing that they too have their struggles and pain. When you practice empathy, you remember that people's actions are often shaped by their own fears, frustrations, and limitations. Maybe a family member's impatience comes from their own anxiety or health concerns. Perhaps a neighbor's gruffness masks loneliness or loss. Recognizing this doesn't excuse hurtful behavior, but it helps you respond with compassion rather than anger. Together, patience and empathy transform frustration into understanding. They open the door to better communication and stronger relationships. So how can you cultivate these qualities as you grow older? Start by slowing down. When you feel irritation rising, pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself that your peace matters more than winning an argument or proving a point. Next, try to imagine what might be going on beneath the surface. For the other person, ask yourself, what might they be feeling right now? What challenges could they be facing? What needs might they have that are not being met? This mental exercise shifts your perspective and softens your heart. It invites patience to grow. Another helpful practice is to remind yourself that everyone is imperfect, including yourself. You've likely made mistakes and hurt others unintentionally. At times, recognizing this shared humanity creates space for forgiveness, both for others and yourself. If you struggle to feel empathy in the moment, that's okay. It is a skill to build gradually. Start small by noticing the little things others do well, or moments when they show kindness. Express appreciation for these qualities, even if your overall relationship is strained. As patience and empathy deepen, you'll find that your frustration diminishes naturally. Your reactions become calmer. You respond with gentleness rather than sharpness. And this not only brings peace to your own heart, but it also encourages more understanding and kindness in return. In addition, patience and empathy help you build resilience. Life often tests us with unexpected challenges, health issues, losses, or changes in relationships. By cultivating these qualities, you prepare yourself to navigate these difficulties with grace. You accept what cannot be changed, and you approach others with a warm heart. This mindset can transform aging from a season of struggle into a time of growth, connection, and meaning. Practicing patience and empathy is also a gift you give to your loved ones. When you respond calmly, instead of with frustration, you create a safe and loving environment for them. Your example teaches younger generations how to handle their own emotions. It fosters family harmony and strengthens bonds. To support your practice, consider journaling about your experiences. Write down moments when you felt patient or empathetic, and how it affected your mood and relationships. Reflect on times when frustration overwhelmed you, and what you might do differently next time. This self-awareness deepens your commitment to change. You might also find it helpful to read books or listen to talks on emotional intelligence and compassionate communication. These resources can offer new insights and practical tools. Remember, patience and empathy are not about suppressing your feelings or accepting mistreatment. They are about choosing peace and understanding over conflict and bitterness. They empower you to respond to life's frustrations with wisdom and heart, and as you develop these qualities, you open yourself to a more peaceful, joyful, and fulfilling experience of aging. So, the next time frustration arises, take a moment, breathe deeply. Invite patience to settle in your heart. See the person before you through the lens of empathy, and know that with each step you are nurturing calm for yourself and for those you care about. Practice mindfulness and deep breathing in the midst of life's many challenges and changes. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by frustration, especially as we age. Our minds may race with worries, or we may react quickly to stressful situations without realizing it. But there is a powerful, calming practice that can help you regain control and peace. Mindfulness coupled with deep breathing. Mindfulness is the simple yet profound act of paying attention, fully and without judgment, to the present moment. It invites you to slow down, to notice your thoughts and feelings without getting caught up in them. It is not about emptying your mind or escaping reality, but about embracing the now with gentle awareness. When frustration begins to rise, mindfulness acts like a gentle anchor, helping you stay grounded rather than swept away by the storm of emotion. One of the easiest ways to begin practicing mindfulness is through deep breathing exercises. Deep breathing calms the nervous system and signals to your body that it is safe to relax. When you feel irritation or impatience building, taking slow, intentional breaths can quickly soothe tension and bring clarity. Here's a simple deep breathing practice you can try anytime, anywhere. Find a comfortable seated position, whether in a chair or on a couch. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so, or softly gaze downward. Begin by taking a slow, deep breath in through your nose, filling your lungs completely. Hold that breath gently for a count of 3. Slowly exhale through your mouth, emptying your lungs fully. Repeat this cycle at least 5 times, focusing only on the sensation of your breath. As you breathe deeply, try to notice the rise and fall of your chest or the feeling of air passing through your nostrils. If your mind wanders, that's okay. Gently bring your attention back to your breath without judgment. This simple act creates space between your reaction and your response, helping you choose calm instead of frustration. Over time, practicing mindfulness and deep breathing regularly can train your brain to respond more peacefully in stressful moments. You may find that you react less impulsively and feel more balanced throughout your day. Beyond breath awareness, mindfulness can be woven into everyday activities. For example, when you eat a meal, try to savor each bite slowly, noticing the flavors and textures. When you walk, pay attention to the sensation of your feet touching the ground and the sounds around you. When you listen to a loved one, focus fully on their words without planning your reply. These small moments of mindful attention help you reconnect with the present and reduce the power of frustration. Research supports that mindfulness improves emotional regulation and reduces stress, which is particularly beneficial as our bodies and minds face the natural changes of aging. It can improve sleep, lower blood pressure, and even reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression. For many older adults, mindfulness becomes a pathway to greater self-compassion. It encourages you to observe difficult emotions, like frustration, without labeling yourself as bad or weak. Instead, you learn to accept these feelings as natural human experiences that will pass. This acceptance itself can soften frustration's grip. If you're new to mindfulness, you might start by setting aside just 5 minutes each day for a dedicated practice. There are many guided meditations available on apps or websites designed especially for older adults. These can gently lead you through mindfulness and breathing exercises in a supportive way. You may also find mindfulness groups or classes at local community centers, senior centers, or places of worship. Joining others in practice can enhance your commitment and provide a sense of connection. As you cultivate mindfulness, you might notice changes beyond just reducing frustration. You may feel more present to life's joys. The warmth of the sun, the sound of birds, the smile of a grandchild. You may discover a deeper patience with yourself and others. You may find that you can face challenges with a steadier heart. All of these benefits contribute to a richer, calmer, and more meaningful life as you age. In moments when frustration threatens to overwhelm you, returning to your breath and your awareness is a gift you can give yourself. It reminds you that no matter what is happening around you, your inner calm is always within reach. So today, take a moment to breathe deeply. Feel the air filling your lungs and releasing tension as you exhale. Notice the sensation of being here now, and carry this mindfulness with you throughout your day, knowing that peace grows one breath at a time. Choose your environment wisely. As we grow older, one of the most powerful choices we can make is deciding where and with whom we spend our precious time. Because your environment is more than just a place. It's more than the walls of your home or the sounds outside your window. Your environment is the energy that surrounds you. It's the people you speak to, the news you consume, the places you visit, the conversations you allow into your heart. And every one of these things can either bring you peace or steal it away. When we're young, we often don't get much of a choice. We go where we're told. We live where we must. We put up with things because we think we have to. But with age comes a sacred kind of freedom. The freedom to choose what feeds your soul and what drains it. Maybe you've noticed this. There are some people who leave you feeling lighter after you've seen them. They may not say much. They may not be perfect. But their presence calms your spirit. And then there are others who leave you tired, anxious, like you've been through a storm, even if you were only sitting on the same couch. It's not always about what they do. Sometimes it's about what they carry and what they place on you without asking. Negativity, complaints, criticism, gossip, drama, these things don't just stay in the air. They seep into your mood, into your body, into your thoughts. And the truth is, you don't have to absorb them. You don't have to sit in a room where the temperature of the conversation burns your peace. You have the right to protect your spirit. You have the right to choose an environment that feels like a garden, not a battlefield. Let's talk about your home. Is it a place of rest? Does it reflect who you are now, or who you used to be. Sometimes we hold on to clutter, not just physical things, but emotional ones. Boxes filled with old regrets. Shelves lined with reminders of people who no longer treat us kindly. Rooms that echo with silence we never asked for. But a peaceful environment starts with presence. So, take a look around. Are there photos that make you smile? Is there light where you need it? Can you hear music that lifts your heart? Or the gentle sounds of nature outside? Even a small corner, curated with care. A soft chair, a warm blanket, a cherished book can become a sanctuary. Because it's not about luxury, it's about love. Now, let's talk about the people around you. No one is perfect, and we all have bad days. But if someone in your life consistently makes you feel small, ignored, or unworthy, it's okay to take a step back. You don't have to cut them out completely. Sometimes it's not possible. Sometimes it's family. But you can choose how often you engage. You can choose how deeply you let their words sink in. And sometimes, the most powerful way to reclaim peace is with gentle distance. Spend more time with those who laugh easily, who listen fully, who celebrate the good in others instead of always pointing out the bad. You don't need a large circle, just a few good souls who feel like sunshine on a cloudy day. And don't forget about your internal environment, the atmosphere of your mind. What are you feeding your thoughts? Are you watching the news all day, absorbing fear and outrage? Are you scrolling through stories that make you feel left behind? Or are you reading things that nourish your curiosity? Listening to voices that speak with kindness? Filling your heart with music, nature, prayer, or silence? You see, even if your external environment can't change overnight, your inner one can begin to shift in a single moment by turning off the noise. By stepping outside to feel the wind on your skin, by whispering a word of gratitude before you start the day. And don't underestimate the power of nature. A walk in the park, a flower in your windowsill, a tree you visit every week just to say hello. These things are not small, they're sacred. They remind you that the world is still beautiful, still alive, still welcoming you, exactly as you are. And yes, loneliness is real. Sometimes, no matter how lovely your surroundings, you still feel a certain emptiness. That's okay. But know this, you are not alone in your desire for connection and comfort. There are people, kind, open, sincere people, who would be honored to sit beside you. You may find them in a church, group, in a book club, at a senior center, in an online community for older adults. But the first step is believing you still deserve good company. You do. You always have. Always have. Because your time, your attention, and your presence are valuable. And you should spend them in places and with people who see that. So today, ask yourself, does this place bring me peace? Does this person uplift me? Does this sound, this image, this memory help me breathe a little easier? And if the answer is no, don't feel guilty for stepping away. You're not being unkind. You're honoring your soul. And when you begin to fill your environment with peace, positivity, and presence, something beautiful begins to happen. You feel stronger, lighter, more like yourself. and others will feel it too. Because peace is contagious. Just by choosing calm, you become a calming force for those around you. You become the person others want to be near, not because you entertain them, not because you fix their problems, but because your very presence reminds them that life doesn't have to be loud or perfect, to be good. So choose your environment with care. Like an artist chooses their canvas, like a gardener chooses where to plant their seeds. And trust that every small choice you make, to welcome light, to silence chaos, to protect your joy, is a step toward the calm life you've always deserved. Practice the power of the pause. In a world that rushes by faster than we can blink, one of the most profound gifts we can give ourselves is the pause. Not the kind of pause where you feel stuck. Not the kind where silence feels heavy or lonely, but the kind of pause that is full of wisdom, full of choice, full of power. You see, when we were younger, life often felt like a race. We rushed to raise families, build careers, fix problems, please others, meet deadlines. The pace was relentless, and slowing down sometimes felt like falling behind. But now you've earned something precious. You've earned the right to pause. Not because you're tired, but because you're aware. You've learned that not every question needs an immediate answer. Not every comment deserves a reply. Not every challenge must be met with resistance. And in that space between stimulus and response lies your peace. That space is the pause. Imagine this: you're in a conversation, and someone says something that rubs you the wrong way. It could be a careless remark, a political jab, or an old story twisted in a way that doesn't sit right. In the past, you might have jumped in, corrected them, defended yourself, raised your voice. But now you know something deeper. You know that the first response is not always the best response. So instead, you pause, you take a breath. You let the words land without letting them take root. And in that brief moment, you ask yourself, do I really need to respond? What would I be defending? Will this bring peace? Or just noise? That breath, that heartbeat of silence becomes your shield. It becomes your filter. It becomes your grace. And it allows you to act instead of react. This is the difference between living at the mercy of others and living with mastery over your emotions. Because people will say things, they'll bring their frustrations, their worries, their misunderstandings. But you don't have to carry those things. You don't have to catch every ball they throw. You can let it fall with dignity, with clarity, with calm. That's the power of the pause. It's not just in conflict, it's in everyday moments too. When you wake up in the morning, pause before you check the news. Before the noise of the world enters your ears, let something peaceful enter your heart. A prayer, a word of thanks, a stretch that reminds your body, I'm still here. I'm still alive. When you receive a letter, an email, or even a difficult phone call, don't rush to respond. Read it once, then pause. Take a walk, sip your tea, talk to the sky if you need to, and then decide what, if anything, needs to be said. The pause gives you perspective. It allows you to see the bigger picture. You may find that what once felt urgent now feels unnecessary. What once triggered anger now stirs compassion. Because with time and wisdom, you've learned something else. Not everything is about you. Sometimes people lash out because they're hurting. Sometimes they speak harshly because they're afraid. Sometimes their urgency is a reflection of their own chaos, not your responsibility. And when you pause, you begin to see that clearly. You see the human behind the words. You see the moment for what it is, just a wave passing through. And you become the calm shore that doesn't crash back. This doesn't mean you become passive. It means you become intentional, and intention is powerful. You speak when your words are rooted in love, not pride. You act when your actions are guided by clarity, not impulse. You protect your peace like it's something sacred. Because it is. You've lived through enough storms to know the value of stillness. And every time you pause, you're choosing that stillness. You're saying to the world, I will not be rushed. I will not be rattled. I will not be reduced to reaction. That, my friend, is strength. Let's also talk about pausing in joyful moments, not just in conflict, but in beauty. Pause when a grandchild laughs in the other room. Pause when you see the sunset outside your window. Pause when you hear an old song that stirs your soul. Let those moments sink in. Don't rush past them, because those are the moments that make life worth living, and they pass quickly. But when you pause, you stretch them, you savor them, you honor them, like pressing a hand gently to your heart and whispering, remember this. Practice, the practice of pausing, is a form of prayer, a form of healing, a form of resistance against a world that says, hurry, react, prove, defend. Instead you say, I choose presence, I choose peace. And you become a living example to your children, to your neighbors, to younger generations of what calm maturity looks like. They may not say it out loud, but they'll notice, they'll see the difference in how you move through life, in how you don't take the bait, in how you speak fewer words, but with more meaning, in how your pauses carry more wisdom than most people's speeches. So practice the pause. Practice it every day. In small conversations, in big decisions, in moments of joy, in waves of sorrow, even in the middle of chaos, perhaps especially then. The pause will become your anchor. It will remind you you are not the storm. You are the sky it passes through. And while others may swirl with noise, you remain steady, still, and free. Forgive without needing an apology. At this point in life, you've carried a lot. You've weathered storms that others never saw. You've walked through grief, disappointment, betrayal, sometimes from the very people you loved most. You've waited for apologies that never came. You've replayed conversations in your mind, wondering what you should have said, what you could have done, how it could have gone differently. And maybe, even now, a part of you still hopes to hear those words, I'm sorry. But sometimes they never come, and that silence can feel like a second wound, a quiet ache that doesn't go away. But here's a truth that may change everything. You don't need an apology to set yourself free. You don't need anyone else's permission to heal, because forgiveness isn't something you do for them. It's something you do for yourself. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It's not pretending it didn't happen. It's not saying what they did was okay. No, forgiveness is saying what they did was not okay, but I will no longer let it steal my joy, my peace, or my future. You see, unforgiveness is a kind of prison. But the door is on the inside. It keeps you locked in a cycle of resentment, anger, and pain. It keeps your heart heavy, your body tense, your nights restless. And the person who hurt you, they may not even be thinking about it, but you are. You're the one carrying it, sometimes for years, even decades. And it's exhausting. It's like drinking poison and hoping the other person feels it. But you can choose something different. You can choose to let it go, not because they deserve it, but because you do. You deserve peace. You deserve rest. You deserve a heart that feels light when you wake up in the morning. Think of it this way. Forgiveness is setting down a burden you were never meant to carry forever. It's releasing the rope in a tug-of-war you never asked to play. It's saying, I choose my well-being over this grudge. And that is a powerful act of self-love. Let's be honest. Forgiveness is not always easy, especially when the wound is deep, especially when the person never acknowledged the hurt they caused, especially when they've moved on like nothing ever happened. But forgiveness is not a one-time act. It's a practice. Sometimes you have to forgive in layers, again and again, each time you feel the sting rise up, each time you hear their name, and feel that tightness in your chest. Each time an old memory visits, uninvited, and each time you take a breath and say, I release this. I choose peace. I choose to stop bleeding from a wound that no longer deserves my pain. Because the truth is, holding on doesn't punish them. It punishes you. It clouds your joy. It drains your energy. It makes your present suffer for something that already happened in the past. And here's another truth. Sometimes the person you need to forgive is yourself, for the mistakes you made when you didn't know better, for the words you said in anger, for the times you stayed silent when you should have spoken up, for the choices you regret now, years later. But please hear this. You were doing the best you could with what you knew at the time. You were learning. You were surviving. You were human. And punishing yourself forever doesn't change the past. It only robs the present. So let yourself off the hook. Extend to yourself the same grace you'd give a friend. Talk to yourself with the same compassion you'd give your grandchild. You deserve forgiveness too. And when you forgive yourself, something beautiful happens. You soften. You smile more. You laugh without guilt. Without guilt. You show up with a new kind of strength. The strength that comes from knowing I am not perfect, and I love myself anyway. And sometimes forgiveness is needed, even when there was no big offense. Just the quiet resentment that builds up in relationships over time. Unspoken tension between siblings, disappointments between parents and children. Little misunderstandings that grow into big silences. But someone has to make the first move. Someone has to say, let's not waste any more time, because time is not guaranteed. And many people, maybe you included, have learned the hard way that we don't always get another chance to make things right. So why wait? Why hold on to old pain when you can hold on to love instead? Why replay what went wrong when you can begin again, even if the other person never says, "I'm sorry"? You can say, "I forgive you," not out loud necessarily, maybe just in your heart, maybe just in the quiet of your room, with tears in your eyes and a hand on your chest. That's enough. That's everything. Forgiveness doesn't require a witness. It only requires willingness. And maybe, just maybe, the act of forgiving will shift something unseen. Maybe the energy will change. Maybe they'll soften too in their own way. Or maybe they won't. But either way, you'll be free. You'll stop giving your power to a memory that no longer serves. You'll reclaim the present. You'll make space for joy. Because forgiveness isn't about the past. It's about the future, your future. And you deserve one filled with light. So if there's someone you need to forgive, do it for you, not because they earned it, but because you're tired of carrying this weight. And if there's something you need to forgive yourself for, let today be the day. Breathe in grace. Breathe out guilt and whisper to yourself, "I am healing. I am growing. I am free," because you are, right now, in this very moment, free. 7. Limit your exposure to negativity. In this season of life, your peace is more precious than ever. You've worked hard. You've lived through decades of change, challenge, and growth. And now you deserve to wake up without a heavy heart, to spend your days without unnecessary worry, and to close your eyes at night without carrying the weight of the world. But peace doesn't always come automatically. It has to be protected, guarded, intentionally preserved, and one of the biggest threats to your peace today is the constant flood of negativity. It's everywhere, isn't it? The television, the internet, the conversations around you, the headlines screaming crisis after crisis, the comments full of anger, fear, and division. And while staying informed has its place, there comes a point, especially as we age, where we must ask ourselves, is this helping me, or is this harming me? Because your mind, like your body, absorbs what it's fed, just as too much sugar can hurt your body. Too much negativity can hurt your spirit. Think of it this way. If you woke up every morning and someone knocked on your door to dump a bag of garbage in your living room, would you let them? Of course not. And yet, many of us unknowingly allow that to happen every day, through our screens, our radios, and even the people we spend time with. Negativity creeps in and settles. It makes your thoughts more anxious, your heart more restless, your outlook more dim. You may start feeling irritable without knowing why. You might lose interest in things you used to enjoy. You might begin to believe that the world is a terrible place, that people can't be trusted, that nothing will ever get better. But those aren't your true thoughts. That's just the result of too much noise, too much fear, too much exposure to pain that isn't even yours to carry. How do you stop it? You start with a simple but powerful decision. I choose what comes into my mind. You are not obligated to watch the news every day. You are not required to engage in every political conversation. You are not less informed or less responsible if you say, "That's enough for today." In fact, you may find that you are more present, more loving, and more joyful when you do. Because the truth is, the human mind was not designed to process every disaster happening around the world in real time. especially not all at once. You were made to live in a community, in a family, in a local world you can touch and see. And while global awareness is important, it's also okay, even wise, to set limits. So consider this. Limit how often you check the news. Maybe once in the morning, just briefly. Maybe not at all on Sundays. Or maybe you only read one trusted source. No shouting, no spin, just the facts once a day. That's enough. You don't need to know everything. You need to protect your spirit. Also, pay attention to the conversations you allow into your life. Do certain friends only want to complain? Do some relatives bring up drama every time they call? You can still love them, but you can also redirect the conversation or limit the time you spend talking. You don't have to be rude, just kind and firm. That's a heavy topic. Can we talk about something lighter today? Or, I'm working on staying more peaceful. Let's not get into that right now. And if they insist, it's okay to excuse yourself. Protecting your peace is not selfish. It's sacred. You've earned the right to enjoy your days, to spend time, enjoy, gratitude and laughter, to look out the window and notice the flowers blooming, instead of just the headlines screaming. Another place to watch for negativity is in entertainment. So many shows are filled with violence, betrayal, and chaos. Even comedies today often rely on sarcasm, insults, or mean-spirited humor. But you have a choice. You can choose to fill your home with beauty instead. Listen to music that lifts your soul. Watch movies that make you smile. Read books that inspire your heart. Fill your space with stories of courage, kindness, and hope. There's more good in the world than bad, if you know where to look. And finally, be mindful of your own inner dialogue. Because sometimes the greatest source of negativity comes from within. The voice that says, "You're too old. You'll never change. No one cares what you think." That voice is a liar. You are not too old. You are evolving. You are wise. You are loved. And your presence, your calm, your kindness, your laughter makes the world better. So speak to yourself with gentleness. Talk to yourself like you would to your younger self or your grandchild. You're doing your best. You've come so far. You are enough, because you are, and you always have been. So as you move through this chapter of life, ask yourself daily, is what I'm taking in feeding my peace or feeding my fear? If it's fear, you can turn it off. If it's anger, you can walk away. If it's darkness, you can choose light. Let your home be a sanctuary. Let your mind be a garden. Let your heart be a quiet place where joy can still come and sit for a while. Because even in this noisy world, peace is possible. And it begins with what you allow in. So limit your exposure to negativity. Not because you're ignoring reality, but because you're choosing to live in a way that honors your well-being, that honors your age, that honors your heart. You've been through enough. Now it's time to rest in the beauty of what's still good. Because there is still so much good, right here, right now, and it's yours to embrace. Practice mindfulness and deep breathing as we journey through life. It's natural to encounter moments when our minds feel overwhelmed, when worries crowd in, and frustration threatens to take hold. These feelings can sometimes feel heavier as we grow older, as the pace of change and the realities of aging press upon us. But there is a gentle, powerful tool that you carry with you at all times: your breath. Mindfulness and deep breathing are simple practices, yet their effects can be profound. They don't require special equipment or hours of training. You don't need to be anywhere special or to set aside large chunks of time. All it takes is a few minutes of intention and attention, and the willingness to be present with yourself. So, what is mindfulness? Simply put, it's the practice of being fully aware of the present moment, without judgment, without rushing, without distraction. It's learning to pause and notice what's happening right now, inside and outside of you. Imagine sitting quietly, your feet resting on the floor, your hands gently folded in your lap. You close your eyes softly and bring your attention to your breathing. Feel the air as it enters your nose, cool and gentle. Feel your chest or belly rise as you breathe in. Then notice the air as it flows out, warm and slow. This simple focus begins to calm your nervous system, easing the tension from your muscles and quieting the restless chatter of your mind. When frustration arises, whether from a disagreement, a memory, or simply the noise of life, mindfulness can be a refuge. Instead of reacting immediately, you pause, you take a breath, you observe your feelings without judgment, as if you were watching clouds drift across the sky. You notice the frustration, but you don't have to hold on to it. This pause is a gift. It gives you space to choose your response, rather than simply reacting out of habit or pain. Deep breathing, often practiced together with mindfulness, enhances this calming effect. When you breathe deeply and slowly, you activate your body's relaxation response. This slows your heart rate, lowers blood pressure, and helps you feel more grounded and balanced. A simple deep breathing exercise you can try any time is called the 4-7-8 technique. Breathe in quietly through your nose for a count of 4. Hold your breath for a count of 7. Exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 8. Repeat this cycle 3 to 4 times. This exercise can reduce stress quickly and bring clarity when you feel overwhelmed. Mindfulness is not about emptying your mind or forcing yourself to stop thinking. It's about gently noticing your thoughts, feelings, and sensations, and letting them pass without getting caught up in them. You might notice thoughts like, "I'm so frustrated," or "This is unfair." That's okay. The key is to recognize these thoughts, and then return your attention to your breath or your senses. You can also bring mindfulness to everyday activities. The feel of warm water on your hands as you wash them, the taste of your morning coffee, the sound of birds outside your window. These moments anchor you to the present and remind you that there is beauty in the now. For many older adults, practicing mindfulness can help reduce feelings of anxiety and depression, improve sleep, and increase feelings of contentment. It can also improve memory and concentration, helping you feel more connected and aware throughout your day. If you're new to mindfulness, it's okay to start small. Just a few minutes a day can make a difference. You might want to set aside a quiet corner in your home where you can sit comfortably or use a cushion or chair. If sitting still feels difficult at first, you can try gentle walking meditation, focusing on the sensation of your feet touching the ground. There are also many resources available: guided mindfulness recordings, apps designed for beginners, or local community classes that focus on gentle meditation for seniors. Remember, the goal is not perfection. It's kindness toward yourself. Each moment you bring awareness back to your breath is a small victory. Over time, these moments accumulate into greater calm and resilience. When frustration creeps in during your day, remind yourself that you can always come back to your breath. It's a faithful friend, always with you, ready to help you find your center again. This practice also opens the door to greater compassion for yourself and for others. When you see your own struggles with more kindness, you may find it easier to extend that kindness to those who frustrate you. And that in turn softens relationships and reduces conflicts. Mindfulness and deep breathing are gifts you give yourself, moments of peace in a sometimes chaotic world. They help you stay calm, stay grounded, and stay connected to the present moment where life truly happens. So today and every day, invite yourself to pause. Breathe deeply. Notice what is here now. Feel the peace that lives within you, waiting to be discovered again and again, because your breath is a bridge. From frustration to calm, from chaos to clarity, from overwhelm to grace, and it's always within reach. Cultivate gratitude and positive thinking. As the years add layers to our lives, they also bring wisdom. Wisdom about what truly matters and what nourishes our spirit. One of the most powerful lessons many discover is that gratitude is not just a fleeting feeling. It is a practice, a choice, and a lens through which we can view the world in a way that brings calm and joy, even in difficult moments. Cultivating gratitude means learning to see, appreciate, and celebrate the good around you, no matter how small or simple it might seem. It's waking up each morning and being thankful for the breath in your lungs, the warmth of the sunlight on your skin, or the sound of a loved one's voice. It's recognizing the kindness of a stranger, the beauty of a blooming flower, or the comfort of a favorite chair. Gratitude shifts our focus away from what's missing or what's wrong toward what is present and right. And when we do this, our hearts open, our minds calm, and frustration finds less space to take root. You might wonder, but how can I feel grateful when things feel so hard? When frustrations pile up and losses weigh heavy, that is a very real and valid feeling. Gratitude is not about denying pain or ignoring the challenges of aging. It's about holding both the hardships and the blessings in your hands and choosing to gently rest your attention on the blessings. Because that nourishes your soul. Even in difficult times, there is something to be grateful for. Maybe it's the caring nurse who smiled at you during a doctor's visit. Maybe it's the cozy blanket that keeps you warm. Maybe it's the memories of joyful moments, the stories of a lifetime, the lessons learned. Starting a daily gratitude practice can help make this shift easier. You don't need a fancy journal or complicated routine. You simply take a moment, each morning or before bed, to quietly reflect on 3 things you are grateful for that day. They can be big or small. Here are some examples. I am grateful for the laughter I shared with my grandchild today. I am grateful for the peaceful morning I spent with my coffee. I am grateful for my health and the strength to take a short walk. Writing these down helps solidify them in your mind and heart. If writing isn't comfortable, simply say them aloud or think them quietly. Over time, this simple act rewires your brain to notice the positive more easily, balancing out the negative thoughts that often fuel frustration. Alongside gratitude, cultivating positive thinking helps create a mental environment where frustration loses its grip. Positive thinking doesn't mean ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. Instead, it means approaching life's difficulties with a hopeful mindset. It means telling yourself, I can face this, I can find a solution, or I will get through this. Research shows that people who focus on positive thoughts tend to have lower levels of stress and better overall health. This is because our thoughts influence our emotions, and our emotions affect our physical well-being. When you replace frustration and worry with hope and optimism, you are strengthening your resilience. A helpful way to build positive thinking is through affirmations, simple, encouraging statements you repeat to yourself. For example, I am capable and strong. Each day brings new opportunities. I am surrounded by love and support. Say these with kindness and belief. Over time, they become truths you carry within. Another way to nurture positivity is by surrounding yourself with uplifting people and messages. Spend time with friends who lift your spirits. Read books or listen to music that inspires you. Watch shows or movies that bring warmth and laughter. When you fill your world with positivity, it becomes easier to maintain a hopeful outlook, even when life gets challenging. And gratitude paired with positive thinking creates a powerful cycle. The more grateful you are, the more positive you feel. The more positive you feel, the more you notice reasons to be grateful. This cycle gently pushes frustration and negativity to the edges, leaving space for peace and contentment to grow. Finally, remember that cultivating gratitude and positive thinking is a journey, not a destination. There will be days when frustration feels stronger, and that's okay. On those days, be gentle with yourself. Acknowledge your feelings without judgment, then return to gratitude and hope when you are ready. You are not alone in this. Many older adults find that embracing gratitude and positive thinking helps them navigate aging with grace and joy. It helps turn ordinary moments into precious treasures. It helps heal old wounds and opens the heart to new possibilities. So today, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what am I grateful for right now? What positive thought can I carry with me through the day? As you answer, feel your spirit lighten. Feel frustration soften. Feel the warmth of hope filling your heart. Because gratitude and positive thinking are more than just ideas. They are lifelines. They remind you that no matter what life brings, you have the power to choose peace, and that is a gift beyond measure. Seek support and connection. As we grow older, the importance of connection deepens. Human beings are wired for relationships, for bonds that bring comfort, joy, and understanding. No matter how independent or self-sufficient you have been throughout your life, seeking support and nurturing connection are essential keys to staying calm, especially when frustration arises from the actions or words of others. You might think, I should be able to handle this on my own, or perhaps, I don't want to burden anyone with my troubles. These thoughts are common, but they can isolate you and make frustration feel heavier than it needs to be. Reaching out for support is not a sign of weakness. It is a courageous act of self-care. It is an acknowledgement that we are not meant to carry life's burdens alone. Whether it's family, friends, neighbors, or community groups, having people who listen, who understand, and who care can make all the difference in your emotional well-being. Sometimes, simply sharing your feelings, speaking your frustrations out loud, can lighten their weight. You may find that others have felt the same way, that you're not alone in your experiences. Connection reminds us that we belong. It reminds us that even in moments of difficulty, we are seen and valued. If you find it difficult to ask for support, start small. Maybe begin with a phone call to a trusted friend, or attend a local senior center event or a community group activity. Even small social interactions can boost your mood and provide perspective. Volunteering or joining clubs or faith groups can also create meaningful connections and reduce feelings of loneliness. And if face-to-face interactions feel overwhelming, remember that support can come in many forms. Writing, letters, joining online communities designed for older adults, or participating in phone support groups are all ways to stay connected. Professional support, like counselors or therapists who specialize in aging, can also offer tools to manage frustration and improve emotional health. It's important to remember that support is a two-way street. While you seek help, you also offer others your wisdom, kindness, and friendship. These reciprocal relationships enrich both sides and deepen a sense of purpose. Sometimes, frustration arises not only from others' actions, but from feeling misunderstood or isolated. When you cultivate connections, you open doors to empathy. You create safe spaces where honest communication is possible. This can prevent misunderstandings from escalating and reduce tensions. Strong relationships also encourage patience and forgiveness, both toward yourself and others. When frustration strikes, knowing there is someone who cares can soothe your heart. It reminds you that challenges are temporary and that you have a network to lean on. In this way, connection is a powerful shield against bitterness and resentment. It transforms struggles into shared experiences, and shared experiences become stories of growth and resilience. Another beautiful part of seeking connection is the joy it brings. Laughter, shared with friends, stories swapped over a cup of tea, or a simple hug. These moments replenish your spirit. They remind you of life's sweetness, and that sweetness softens frustration's edge. If you're hesitant to reach out, try to identify one person in your life who makes you feel safe and cared for. Start there. Be honest about how you're feeling. You might be surprised at how much relief comes just from being heard. If you don't have many close contacts, consider exploring local resources. Senior centers, places of worship, libraries, or community health organizations often offer programs to help older adults connect socially. Technology, too, can be a bridge. Video calls with family members or joining virtual interest groups can provide meaningful connection without leaving your home. Learning new skills, like how to use a tablet or smartphone, can open new doors and reduce feelings of isolation. Remember, connection is about quality, not quantity. Even a few trusted relationships can provide deep comfort and calm. As you cultivate these bonds, frustration with others often softens. You come to understand that everyone carries their own struggles and stories. Empathy grows, tolerance increases, and the peace within you expands. So, embrace the gift of support and connection. Reach out, accept invitations, offer your presence to others, and know that these bonds will nourish your heart and keep frustration at bay. Closing reflection. As we've explored these 10 ways to never get frustrated by others as you age, you can see a common thread: the invitation to care deeply for your own well-being and to embrace life's journey with grace and hope. From setting gentle boundaries to practicing mindfulness, from nurturing gratitude to seeking connection, each step is an act of love toward yourself. Frustration may still visit from time to time. That is part of being human. But you now hold tools and wisdom to welcome it without letting it rule your days. Remember, aging is not just about getting older. It's about growing richer in experience, compassion, and joy. It's about finding peace amid life's noise and embracing the beauty that remains. May you walk forward with calm in your heart, patience in your spirit, and a lightness in your step. You deserve a life filled with peace and the simple happiness that comes from knowing you are enough, exactly as you are. Thank you for allowing these words to be part of your day. May they serve as a gentle reminder that your best days are still ahead.